Aloha, guys. Pleasure to be on locale. We're talking good stuff here. We're talking JRTV, super breakdown on the interplay between human beings and their feelings and their desires. And right here, we're in the tree of knowledge. Over here, we got an abundance of fruits, as you can see, many star fruit. I may have to. Oop, this one fell. I may have to eat one. No? Many more fruit. Look at how much fruit is here. Yep. This idea of the Garden of Eden and Tree of Knowledge seemingly being where people become aware of their nudity and sexuality. Um, there are many ideologies out there that actually either avoid or disapprove of the essence of humanity, which I think is to seek to pleasure somebody that you truly love, with the implication being that just seeking pleasure uh, beyond love, just seeking pleasure for sake of pleasure, is a path to destruction, because all it is a consummation of energy and a distraction from yourself and your dreams. Your dream mate is somebody that you invest your energy in and want to please and pleasure and give your passion to, because you truly love them. And the defining factor of love being to love somebody because you love their dreams. You love their lifestyle preferences. Well, guys, consider the idea that love is um, it's something that it's something that's individual, and a person's individual truths, right? And their soul and what defines them, and it's kind of like wanting somebody for their soul instead of wanting them for their body. And of course, people should be attracted to each other. They should want to orally pleasure each other sexually and all of that, right? However, it's more subtle things that attract people. It's people's demeanor. It's the way they talk. It's even things like their body posture, or their lifestyle, obviously, is interests and goals and dreams. Um, and so the ego will make it think, after viewing you know the media and Hollywood and pornography and all of this, and the ego will make you think that it's just based upon people's physical qualities, their body, but it's actually more than that. And I'm going to delve into that here. I'm going to do a little breakdown here. In fact, it's going to be a super breakdown, because it's a whole series of concepts here I want to share with you. So let's get right into it. I've already uh, shown you the premise, which is to feel good about sexuality. And make it be the drug of humanity, or the highlight, instead of seeking other unhealthy means of deriving pleasure, like drugs and coffee, and all these costly and hobbies and habits and all of this. That's not. Joy is simple and free, and so is pleasure. Sexual, and it should be seen from in a mathematical sense. Um, one doesn't, at least speaking for myself and probably men, one doesn't one you don't want to have sex with somebody. You just want to have achieve orgasm, activate the second chakra, because once you do that, you no longer are thinking about sexual matters. You know what I mean? So that's math, and so in pop culture, I noticed that there are references to um, references to size matters, quote unquote. stuff like penis and breasts in particular. And I really think that it's an antisocial gesture on the whoever's saying it. And like especially it's one thing if it's adult entertainment, like you know like rated R, or there's no kids involved. But I've noticed there are even movies where there's children that are, yeah, actors and actresses in it, and they'll make references. Like a recent one you may have seen, Hobbs and Shaw. The Rock made reference to his being well endowed, and the funny thing about that is that the implication is that it's better to have a larger penis size than to have a tighter or more shallow vagina. I mean, some woman or whomever saying that, oh, I want like a bigger size, that's just implying that they have a bigger size vagina. And it's really an antisocial activity to talk about, I think, these two things in particular. Probably vagina size as well. The cool thing is many vaginas look the same, but on the inside, obviously, they're different. And but it's two things in particular: penis size and breast size, that really people should realize that these are not things to casually discuss. Um, and so what the deal is, guys, is there's a certain type of people, especially men, who talk about this. They'll talk about these things. They'll say stuff like, make size jokes, or they'll say like, oh, what she that's what she said, like, and all in reference to, and it's all I think in part a derivative of how men have always talked openly about breast size and celebrated it. I think it's disrespectful. I personally prefer flatter chested breasts, and I think men should have medium size penises, and of course be uncircumcised. It's more natural that way, and it protects the head of but an emphasis and celebration towards the vagina and clitoris. I believe it's just something to focus on, as a society, as humans. It's a fun thing to focus on, instead of other things, quote unquote, other things. Um, when people talk about like breast size, and it's rude. It's like, and I think it's equally rude for men to wear tight pants that reveal their crotch, penis, and women to reveal their breasts. I mean, maybe nipples is okay, but not breasts. I feel like those create, it's the type of thing where what does an ideal world look like? Does it involve marriage? Does it involve people only marrying out of true love? Do you want to like show off do women want to show off their breast if they around people that they actually care about and respect? There's these are some things I think about, because I think I want to enter into a society that's more oriented around love, and another element to consider is that if for size, if it's something's bigger, it's more difficult to keep erect. Woman's vagina may ache, may result in less intercourse. As we know, there are nice visual aspects to, say, larger breasts or vagina, but I think the functionality of it element I usually prefer, because really that's the most important thing. If it actually works, and if it actually derives pleasure, and so obviously there are different preferences for everyone to consider, but they should be aware of these things. They should, for example, women should be aware of their vagina size. Obviously, using sex toys, you can determine that. You can see I'm working through my notes here. I've gone so far as to want to check movies that I see to see if there are penis or breast references, because I really think it's a perverse and disturbing in conversation or representation, you know. And more, like I said, there should be more of a celebration towards the vagina and maybe women's ass, and it just seems politically correct, the clitoris and everything. Let's see what else here, and an awareness that health and virility is more appealing than any men's or women's genitalia or other body features. Like I said, the theory is it's quote unquote. See, men have, and then I think women, out of anger or whatever it is, may make size references, but I think women are generally kinder. There's a certain kindness about women. That's what I think. Women should be allowed to legally open carry firearms. Yeah, I think that'll help. And obviously, I have to be trained to use them and stuff like that. But it's just that. Well, yeah, like I was saying, in theory, it's better to have a larger penis than to have a tighter, more shallow vagina, which obviously is not true. Is it better to have either? And that's better to have bigger breasts than smaller breasts. I think that it can be a reminder of sexual matters, throughout your day, and it can actually be a distraction from being able to enjoy life, And also, as we're aware, you can with jelqing, quote unquote, you can increase your penis size. Something to do carefully. However, I think what is ideal size? I think it's what your body can support. How, for what period of time can you maintain erection? Not during sexual intercourse, which is also motivated by or compelled by, pheromones in biology, but just during masturbation. Like I was saying earlier, there's such a value to masturbation, which is kind of avoided in certain ideology, religion, even spirituality. People talk about all this crazy stuff. I shouldn't say crazy, but just they talk about all these stories and quote unquote moral boundaries and spiritual astrology and all this stuff. But it doesn't, to me, it doesn't really have great consequence unless you're firstly in the direction of purity and self-control, which masturbation allows for, and in the direction of in marriage, because I think marriage is the foundational element to to an uncompetitive and loving society. And so the purity ring, is a prime indicator. And maybe somebody's trying to deceive somebody, by wearing one, but generally I think people use it as a purity ring if they're not married. So where am I here? Be aware of people who are trying to seduce or manipulate or be rude. They may try to make you laugh or be friendly or get you into an environment, like offer you food or invite to a party or transportation, and seduce people, or maybe just take your time and money. But the worst thing would be is if they're trying to actually take your body, and realize that your body is valuable and sacred, and that it's possible to be seduced by somebody even if you're not per se physically attracted to them. And obvious things are avoiding environments with like alcohol and darker places, and like going on romantic dinner dates. That's something you want to do with somebody you love. Are married already. You're a romantic. If people don't know each other, they should go on a platonic, lunch date, to actually say hello. Where'd you go to school? What are some of your, surface interests? And then maybe furthermore email each other, to determine more things like compatibility and stuff, which you can do. You can talk about that sexual compatibility, other personal matters, preferences. You can talk about that via the internet instead of having to leave things unknown. You know. So where else are we here? Uh, but it's all things considered, there are certain things that are useful, and remembering who we are, right? We're all it is. We invest in our bodies. We can invest in bodies, so in the future we can incarnate into more attractive bodies that are stronger, taller, smarter, and people should have matching sex organs, obviously. Um, but the thing is, it's the most joy and peace and sense of purpose you can have in life. Like if you aim for that intentionally, and and it you have to. It's an effort, though. But I think everything else is half-hearted. I call it the prostitute paradox, right? Where you're just trading money for sex with people you don't care about, or even sex for sex. It's a neglecting of each other's dreams and your dream mate. You're either aiming towards love, to reserve your energy and your passion, for somebody, for your dream mate, or you're seeking random pleasure. So it's either you want to please the person you love, or you're just seeking random pleasure, which is a path to destruction. It'll lead you to be around the wrong people, and it's fear-based. It's sexual tension, it's wasted energy, it's unwanted memories, it's neglecting your soul. So, like men, for example, how much are you concerned about a vagina size or clitoris size? That's any response to men who are worried about their own penis size or its appearance. I described what love is earlier. You either want them for their body or soul, and their commonality and other subtle things. And here's like more real world issues that we might encounter. A man or woman in public might make a penis or breast joke. They might say whatever, and how do you respond to that? It's either avoiding them, or if it's in our position, you might say, I hope you have a meaningful intimacy with your, somebody you love, and but other you don't want to hear about that, because when people talk about like other people's like sexual activity, they're really showing them they're really talking about their own sexual, interests and inclinations and whatnot, and it's really not. Obviously, it's antisocial behavior, but it's just something to be, cognizant of. I'm going to see what other notes I have here. Guys, this is just a transition, all right, towards love and away from fear, all right? And, people like to, in the ego, quote unquote, likes to think that, oh, you have to be attractive or have, nice sex organs or money or luxuries, whatever. You don't need all of that, okay, to impress your dream mate. Just think about who your dream mate might be, and think they're watching you, and make your life about that. Make it about love. Um, and I mean, I wouldn't want to be intimate with someone unless they were my dream mate, because the only, reason I might want to be is because I felt badly or lonely or whatever, and those are not of truth. That is not who we are. We are all that is, and so we should behave accordingly and have certain standards of self-control. What else here? Um, yeah, I think I threw out a bunch of stuff there. Food for thought. The bottom line being, choose what you want. Choose what you want in life, and but be aware of the benefits and downsides. And be be loving, want good for people, and but also set boundaries and defenses whether people are trying to seduce you or trying to relay personal inappropriate information or make perverse commentary. Know to extract yourself from the situation as possible, and have a realization that forget about the details about sexuality and sex and everything. Think about it like this: you have energy and you have passion. You want to give it to the right person, and we can invest in our bodies. We have to think of ourselves as living thousands of years, and people want attractive attributes. And so if we work towards that, we can quote unquote leave this car and get a nicer, newer car, a body, in the future lifetime, where we invest in the couple we found attractive, where their grandchildren will be us potentially in a further incarnation. And that's I think my conclusion there. I think I've shared some both facts and opinions, and I've done it in a wholesome way. Talked about a subject of love and physical sexual compatibility, and I it, trying to think if I left anything out. Uh, let's see here. Yeah, the whole point here is towards love, a transcendence of fear and things like envy, where you wish you had, there is no such thing as envy, wishing that you had another person's body or such, because the only, it's not envy, it's actually a sense of disapproval for the misusage of, how somebody's misusing their body. If two couples have attractive bodies, or a couple has an attractive body and they're, you know, monogamous and respectful and classy, then great, So let's go to that direction, and let's make it a better humanity. But it starts with a sense of class and dignity, which I feel stuff like having a purity ring really aims towards. Thanks for considering. Aloha.